Okay, so we're here with Pascal Bensoussan. Pascal, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Matt.
Ivalua's Chief
Thanks for
Product Officer.
having me here.
No problem at all. Great keynote. How did you find it on stage? Lots going on. I guess an exciting time to be in procurement.
Yeah, it's awesome to speak for David, our founder and now Chief AI Officer. It was very energizing to talk to the crowd about where we're going with the Ivalua platform and how we bring AI and particularly agentic AI to fruition in a very concrete way in our platform.
Sure. And I guess to take it back to the beginning, obviously we're talking about the rapid pace of adoption of AI. I mean, maybe you can tell me about that over the last couple of years and what's driving that for procurement.
Yeah, so it's very interesting because I think there is a very rapid pace of intrigue and interest, not yet of adoption.
Okay.
There is a very rapid pace of development and innovation around AI agent, generative AI. In the last 2 years, as we were building some of those core capabilities within our platform, particularly with what we call EVA, generative AI, our generative AI agents and assistants baked into the product, a lot of things changed across the board with OpenAI, with Microsoft, with Google, with Facebook or Meta.
Sure.
A lot of things changed. The technology is evolving constantly, but the level of interest from our customers is very high. The level of adoption is slow.
Okay.
And I think that the main reason for it is that many of our customers are figuring out AI and where to use AI in a safe way within their organization, how to enable AI across the board, how to work with a probabilistic system, a non-deterministic system, which is scary in some ways.
Of course.
There's also a lot of myth about generative AI that they have to overcome. Particularly, AI is going to make decisions for me, and then suddenly it's going to make the wrong decisions, and my business is going down to hell, and that's not what I want. And so we see a lot of that, and so there is a lot of education to do. What we see on our side is an inevitable progression towards agentic systems where agents will play more and more the role of users, of humans, doing basic things, sometimes providing depth in the analysis so that they can assist and help an end user execute the next task, but sometimes also doing bare bones, simple, mundane tasks as a way to automate things that would take a long time. So we see that it's inevitable. We definitely see it from our perspective as a software company as almost an existential, I would say, I don't want to say threat, but existential opportunity. Okay. Where if you transform your company as a software company and properly adopt generative AI to write your spec, to write your code, to test your application, you will be very relevant in the next 3 to 5 years. If you don't, you might die. It's as simple as that. Yeah. And that explains why David, our founder, has taken his new role as Chief AI Officer. He's realized the very deep transformative power of generative AI for us as a company, and how we can bring that to our customers in a very concrete way, and almost like an imperative and a mission for us.
Brilliant. So why don't we talk about what you're doing then? Obviously your keynote was focused around V10 and where you're going with that. So maybe, I guess, give us a run through of that product journey, some of the key kind of steps on that, particularly around the kind of multi-agent approach that you're taking.
Okay, excellent. So when we talk about V10, it can be frightening for some of our customers or partners and say, oh, suddenly you're going to change everything, and I'm going to have to relearn a complete platform, and I'm going to worry about migration and upgrades, and it couldn't be further from the truth. V10 doesn't change the function that we have and the solutions we have offered for the last 20 years. Still the same thing. It doesn't change the way our partners and customers are able to configure the application to their needs via design mode, via all the configuration options that we're offering. What changes is really the lower level platform in how the data is structured in the backend. The data model remains I would say 80% the same, maybe more than 80% the same. So the migration effort in terms of data migration is not more than a standard migration from a major version that we've had over the last 20 years to the next major version. So it's nothing different. However, what V10 brings is a level of a structure in the way the data is defined, the way the data is exposed to agents, the way agents are able to understand not only the data that's available to them through the platform or outside of the platform via API call to third-party APIs, but also all the different functions and methods that are available to them to do what you would typically do via writing rigid code or creating a configuration that automates that very specific process as a very deliberate action that you want to take at a given point in the process, in the workflow. Agents will be able to decide, given the context, given the objective that's given to them, with knowledge of different data sources that are able to tap into and the actions that they can take on different objects, they will be able to execute a workflow or achieve a given objective. Potentially bringing an end user in the flow, notifying an end user that they need input. And you can start thinking of an agent as kind of almost orchestrating human and orchestrating workflows because you've given them you've granted them the authority and the autonomy to do that, right? So at the end of the day, that's what V10 brings, is a level of transparency, safety, exposure and structure of that data or the different methods that exist in the platform in a way where agents can start making kind of decisions on how to execute a flow.
Incredible innovation, and obviously a big step change. I mean, in terms of outcomes for people using the system, what are the main benefits? What are the main advantages?
So I can give you a few examples that I can give now, but we will disclose some of those on stage tomorrow during our innovation showcase. For example, think about a autonomous sourcing agent. You have a need, you express that need. The system, the agent, is able to understand that to fulfill that need, because, for example, you need marketing services for the next major event, Ivalua now, that we organize in Australia and Sydney. I'm just kidding. I don't know where
I'll be there.
Okay, great. And you know that you need locally there some catering, company that provides specific services. You have in mind what you need, so you start typing what you want. The system realizes that you have no supplier that can do that today in Australia, and it's going to create an RFX to source and find the right supplier. So understanding the intent, understanding what to do next, create a sourcing event, find suppliers, potentially invite them autonomously. Maybe you told the agent, no, you can't invite suppliers until I reviewed the list that you found. Maybe you told the supplier, for those commodities, maybe marketing services is not as strategic as your direct material that you're buying to build your products, and so you're authorizing under a certain budget as well the agent to take to be autonomous, to take the next step in inviting those suppliers. And then the suppliers have been invited, they've been onboarding into the sourcing event, they've been invited to submit a proposal and a bid. Great, they've received that proposal. Are you allowing the agent at that point to analyze those proposals, compare the different proposals, look at what you define as success criteria in your sourcing event, and ultimately make a decision for which one of those suppliers is going to win the bid? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you actually want the agent to make the analysis and stop there and let a human come into the loop at that point and decide how to make the awarding decision. At that point, the agent can start saying, okay, great, I understand your awarding decision. I will send them a contract, the boilerplate contract. Who's going to review that contract? Is it your legal team, or do you want the agent to be able to autonomously review some of those red lines? And as long as they are within an acceptable level of change compared to your standard boilerplate contract, maybe you let the agent figure out and accept some of those boilerplates. Maybe at the end of the flow, you want still an executive review of that contract before the contract is signed. Maybe the agent can follow and turn that contract into purchase orders for the supplier. So what I described here is a complete workflow that you would typically build using humans and with different roles through the process, and the ability to inject in some tasks agents to do that task autonomously. Some of it requires generative AI and AI. Some of them, frankly, and that's where we see sometimes a lot of buzz and wrong expectation, require simple like business rules, good logic to find the data, to compute the next step, to know what to do next. People call them agent. I will call them agent, but at the end of the day, it's a combination of deterministic and AI to be able to take that flow to the next level.
Amazing. I think what I always find interesting is it's just removing that low-hanging fruit to free people up to add value, which I know is another big theme, procurement's shift to being a strategic enabler. Is that kind of key for what you're driving?
It's very key, and I can be more concrete because what I described is where we're going with V10, but we're not waiting for V10 to deliver a clear value to our customers. For example, there is 4 use cases that we're currently demoing that will be released in June on the current platform. One of them is, for example, the ability to drag and drop a contract you've received from a supplier, and Eva will automatically generate that contract in our application, upload the document, the file, extract as much information as it can, start date, supplier, the buying organization, the effective date of the contract, the payment term, the warranty terms, and fill out all of that information in the form that we have that is typically handled by a human. It will do it and then redirect the end user directly to the page where you can start editing the contract or putting red lines. In fact, it will even recommend some red lines right there on that document based on an analysis of the risks for the buyer. So that's one of them. Another one that people talk about is being able to ask Eva, our agent, to find information about key performance indicators, analytics report, like key indicators of the business by simply using natural language.
Okay.
How much did I spend last year on this commodity? Boom. Can you break it down by supplier? Great. Can you further break it down by region, who are buying those commodities? Great. Show me the trend compared to the year before. Like all of those things you want to talk to an agent and have all those numbers come to you. And that's also one of the use cases that we are going to be, we're showing right now.
It's amazing. And obviously that idea of collaboration and partnerships is central to what you do. How do you kind of factor that into the development stage, co-creation and collaboration with partners, with customers, and so you're making sure you're driving in the right direction?
So that's it's a good question, because at the end of the day, everything starts with a use case in mind, right? And those use cases come from customers, come from partners, their own experience. We have many of them are coming to us and say, I'd like to do this. I'll tell you, my first inclination is to first ask, why do you need an agent to do that? Or why do you need generative AI or AI to do that? Because in half of the cases, you actually don't. Because people tend to think that agents is like acting like magic and it's going to do everything. And I heard
have one recently, for everything.
I recently heard a competitor of us announcing in their purchase, in their press release, we have an agent that tells you which documents need your approval. Well, I don't need an agent for that. I know what documents in my database are pending approval from different users. I can create a notification and let them know. I don't need AI to tell me that. Right? And so I think that's a little bit of an abuse of the concept of agent. Whenever something happens that's kind of automated, everybody believes that it's an agent. So, and everybody falls in that trap, myself included. So my discipline is, every time I have a use case, is to start defining how much of that use case should be enabled by an agent, an AI process, versus can simply be implemented by simple rules, checking data in a database, sending a notification to a user, updating a document or an object in our system automatically without even asking an AI to make a decision, to do an analysis, to do a classification or whatever. So that's my first step. But as you said, collaborating with partners is very key, because we hear a lot of clues of what it is they're trying to do, and that gives us a lot of insights on some really cool use cases that we can build into the product.
Okay, well look, really exciting, so much going on. I guess just finally, looking ahead, you're talking about this being a journey. What are the key priorities for you and Ivalua to push V10 and to push beyond that?
Well, the priority for us is to make it almost a non-event for our customers, to ensure that the migration will be very smooth.
Yep.
At the end of the day, we know that V10 will bring a better UI, faster UI, cross-device UI. It will have a much better data model that centralizes all aspects of communication with agents, but also communication with external API, external systems, which is much better for orchestration. We know we launch our orchestration management, or intake management and orchestration system. The work we're doing on the data structure is really important there as well.
Okay.
So our major objective is to finish it. So this is end of this year, to migrate our customers to it throughout 2026. I believe that there will obviously be a few hiccups. I anticipate in H1 of 2026 when we'll migrate the first few customers. We'll start with the easiest one, but at the end of the day, I think we'll move very fast to having potentially half, if not more, of our customer base by the end of 2026 on V10, and then move the rest of our customer base. Again, at the end of the day, it's all about giving clear and practical value, enabling those agents in a very practical way. And we are learning so much by deploying those agents in our own internal systems that we hope to be able to provide great insights to our customers on best practices to bring those agents in their own procurement system.
Brilliant. Amazing. What a great couple of years ahead, Pascal. Thank you so much for joining us. Pleasure to speak with you, and enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise.